Now today at Mass, well the Mass I went to anyway, I was very struck by the Gospel. It was the Gospel of the Good Samaritan. And I felt that that Gospel has a lot to say to traditional Catholics. We were rather like the Good Samaritan, and after the council, in a way, we were spiritually mugged. We were stripped. We were stripped of our inheritance, of our spiritual, ascetic, liturgical. Even from, if your child goes to a Catholic school, you're stripped of your doctrinal inheritance. Because if you can find a Catholic school where your children taught authentic Catholic doctrine, you'll be very lucky indeed. And we were like the poor man robbed in the story of the Good Samaritan, lying beside the road. We could say the Pope came along, we turned to him for help. He didn't quite walk by on the other side, he threw us what I'd call a band-aid, to which I refer to the 1984 indult, in which he said if any bishop feels so graciously inclined, he can allow these people to have a Tridentine Mass with all sorts of restrictions that made it virtually impossible. And I'd say, without exaggerating, probably 99% or more of the bishops in the world ignored the 1984 indult. No Tridentine Masses were given. Our bishops, we went to our bishops, we asked them, especially following the offer of the 1984 indult, and we were finding that practically every bishop was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Although it mentioned in a recent article, you probably saw that, the plight of the papist priests too, in the Homiletic and Pastoral Review. They said many bishops now are wolves in wolves' clothing. They certainly passed us by. And I'm speaking now, I know, for thousands, tens of thousands of good, honest, faithful Catholics. Paul Johnson, who's not a traditional Catholic, some of you read his books, wrote in an English newspaper, the Daily Mail, at the time of the excommunications. He said, actually, the type of Catholic who supports Archbishop Lefebvre, they're really the salt of the earth. The people who've kept the church going all these years, the people to whom the faith matters. But thousands of us, we got to a state where we began to despair. We thought there was no hope. And then, and I hope this doesn't sound too emotional, because we British aren't supposed to be emotional, but then along came a man sent by God, and his name was Marcel. I thought of that this morning as well when they were reading the last Gospel. Fuit homo missus ad Deo qui nomen erat Marcellus. He didn't walk by on the other side. He treated our wounds, our spiritual wounds, and gave us the spiritual food for which we had hungered for so long. Above all, he gave us the immemorial Tridentine Mass,